Hello there. I've been asked to give a brief conversation about how to manage worry and anxiety in these uncertain times. And most definitely, things that trigger worry are things that are new, things that are different, things that cause us huge stress and uncertainty. So this current climate is a real hotbed for dealing with and causing lots and lots of anxieties. There are loads of calls to helplines and national helplines in terms of the NHS and Anxiety UK that can be really helpful, as well as seriously encouraging you to use our own wellbeing services at St Christopher's if you need them. So our brain has an amazing capacity. In terms of worry, our brain can come up with round about 60,000 thoughts a day when it's not anxious and it's not overthinking. But it has an amazing capacity to think about future events. And some of these future events can give us fabulous anticipation and longing and looking forward to. But many of the future events that people are anticipating at the moment are building lots and lots of fears. So the ability to plan and think ahead is a really useful one. And it can be really, really helpful. My son is currently upstairs thinking and planning ahead about exams in 4 weeks' time. And actually, in a helpful way, is quietly doing a bit of revision today. So that's potentially helpful. But once the brain starts to get into worrying mode, it's actually really difficult to plan ahead in a useful way. So certainly over the years in nursing, some of the things that I've heard or that I used to do myself, when you get a headache, in palliative care, we don't have plain old headaches, do we? We start to worry. What kind of headache? What's going on? Not only did I used to have a brain tumour headache, but it was an untreatable glioblastoma multiforme. So the brain can get carried away with all sorts of catastrophic thinking. And that's what's called a worry chain. So once the brain gets on a worry chain, you instantly dismiss, hey, this might be a headache, it might go in 4 hours. And each catastrophic step on the worry chain, you dismiss the okay outcome, and the brain carries on planning for the most catastrophic outcome. When we get worried like that, it's often worse when we've got physical symptoms, when we're tired, when we're stressed. And in itself, it causes physical symptoms, huge symptoms in the body, muscle tension, headaches, gastric disorders, bowel issues, affects our ability to concentrate. So what I've learned over the years, and one of the tools from CBT that can help us in this situation, is trying to distinguish between when am I problem solving for a very real issue that's current, or when am I worrying about something that doesn't exist yet. So I'm just going to share something with you, if I can, which is called a worry tree. Here comes the worry tree. So this, I have found a tool that's really helpful over the years for helping people to distinguish between a real current problem and a hypothetical problem. And I love the first question on the worry tree: does my worry exist yet? Certainly with a lot of the coronavirus worries, worries just don't exist yet. Luckily, I haven't got it yet, so I don't have to worry just yet as to whether I'm going to live through it or not. So I find the first step on the worry tree really helpful, because I do not tend to worry about things that don't yet exist, unless there's something that I can actually do about them. So in terms of real actual problems that really need solutions right now, in terms of maybe getting the virus, then clearly there are things that I can do about it. So if we move down the worry tree, we get to what is it that I'm worrying about, and is there anything I can do about it? So yes, by now, hopefully, lots of us have worked out what we can do, or how to find out what we can do in terms of hand washing, social distancing, in terms of managing peaceful isolation at home. And we can begin to use the worry tree to find out how to help us. Things like, you know, my children aren't at school and I need help looking after them, or my grandparents haven't got any food in the house for a couple of days. The worry tree helps us to turn our brains to problem solving, to work out what we can do and when we can do it, and make a list to start problem solving. So what about these lovely hypothetical worries that really, really get us caught up in a worry chain and keep us thinking about worst case scenarios? And these are worries that don't yet exist, but that might happen in the future. They leave us exhausted, they leave us upset, they leave us absolutely getting in the way of the life that we want to lead. So if a worry doesn't exist yet, or if it does exist and there's nothing you can do about it, then let me just move down our worry tree. In terms of, is there anything I can do right now? Well, yes, if there's something I can do, then go do it. But actually, if the worry doesn't exist yet, or there's nothing you can do right now, then it genuinely is time to stop worrying and focus on something else that is important right now. And that's really easy to say, isn't it? But we can learn ways to postpone a worry, ways to limit the amount of time we spend worrying, and ways to just distract ourselves and get busy focusing on something else, whether it's important right now or not. Focusing on anything at all will give the brain a rest from worrying. So in terms of any small sense of achievement, let me think about my day. The patients that I've been talking to this morning have managed, in terms of getting a sense of achievement while stuck at home. You know, one of them is got paperwork going back to 2018 and is picking up a pile that's about an inch thick and trying to sort through it every day. Another one is baking and looking up a new recipe. And a third one is aiming to go and cut the grass today. So they're trying to focus on things that are important right now and to reduce the amount of time that they've got worrying. One of the tools from CBT that's quite helpful in terms of postponing your worry is quite a nice way to do it, is to create what's called in the house somewhere that's a worry-free zone. So there might be somewhere in your home that feels a little bit snug and a little bit safe and a little bit secure, and it's good to keep that place as a place for not worrying. When I first started practicing worry-free zones, I started with the shower, because it had a glass door around it so nobody could get to me in terms of little people and children in the house. And actually it's a fantastic place just to be and leave all your thoughts and worries outside the door and just focus on the lovely sound and smell and bubbles and water falling on your shoulders, and just forget the worries of the day. Allow the brain to just be, not to plan, not to worry, not to problem solve, just to be in that moment listening to the water. So I quite liked my worry-free zone of the shower and gradually expanded it to different worry-free zones. So that means that if I ever feel like worrying, which to be honest is quite rare these days and I don't tend to bother with it, I'd have to get out of the shower. I'd have to get up from my comfy chair and I'd have to go somewhere else in order to A, practice the skill of postponing worry, and B, have somewhere safe and comfortable where I choose not to worry. The other way you can postpone worries is to allow yourself deliberately 30 minutes a day where you are going to worry and you're going to let yourself worry, and you can focus on all the worst case scenarios if you wish to. But if a worry comes outside that time, then you have to postpone it and learn to keep it until the worry time the next day. So that gives a whole 23.5 hours off worrying. Or for some patients with really, really severe worry, we might just manage 5 minutes an hour to start with. But it is kind of lovely to be able to postpone even for 5 minutes. So people want to gradually expand the time postponing worries and coming back to them later. One of my ladies that I was talking to last week realised that she's worrying about something that won't exist until September. And it's actually a job promotion that she's worried about. And she's thinking that A, she won't get the job, or if she does get the job, everybody will leave because she'll be so bad at the job and the unit will close down. So we talked about it using the worry tree. And in terms of planning what she can do about it, she hasn't even applied for the job, and the job won't come up until September. And she realised that she was spending 37.5 hours a week worrying about something that really isn't going to exist until September. And so she agreed to give herself half an hour a week to worry about and plan for applying for a job in September, and feels so much physically and mentally easier now that she's got some tools of postponing that worry until the worry time. The best way to postpone a worry is to dive into a busy life, which is interestingly challenging at the moment, but doing something that gives you pleasure, be it a jigsaw, be it mowing the lawn, be it me, I've discovered 2 foot of garden that I'm weeding, and then the next day another 2 foot of garden, and by the time this is over I might have retrieved most of my back garden. But something that gives you a sense of pleasure or a sense of achievement, or something that makes you feel closer to and helpful to others. So I hope that the worry tree is something that's of use to some people, and it links with all sorts of tools and techniques about being in the present moment rather than in future moments. Certainly links with some of the talks that we will have on mindfulness and imagery and guided meditation, just allowing the brain to be and to rest and to not problem solve. Thank you very much.